Alright, so this episode is a boat work episode. Some people don't like them because they're not showing these amazing places we're going to, but some people do enjoy them because they get to see how easy it is to work on your boat and not have to pay somebody to do it. The main issue that we're solving in this episode is that my old raw water pump was leaking. I have no idea how old this thing is, but it was pretty corroded and crusty, so I'm gonna assume pretty old. May have been original to the engine, which is 40 years old at this point. I have no idea. Anyway, the impeller is fine on it. Don't know why it was leaking. I mean, it's, as you can see, it was probably leaking coming out of here, but just still not quite sure.
Even the drainage holes was leaking from everywhere.
Yeah, it was leaking from these drainage holes. Not sure why, but anyway, it was leaking. It was a problem, right? Because of that, getting salt water all over my engine, and you don't want salt water on your engine. So this episode is about how I was able to remove it, replace it, and get it going again. And it wasn't that hard. You don't need to pay somebody to do it. Ruri is raising his eyebrows actually right now because there were some parts that were kind of hard, right?
Yeah, to get the pulley out, it was difficult.
Yeah, well, because of the key, the plate on the key was pretty hard. Like,
yeah, I mean, you needed a puller, and yeah, we actually had to use an extension on
the puller.
The nut driver we were using just to be able to get the pulley off of the engine. So,
but the main part of it was all relatively simple.
Yeah, everything's simple. Just like, yeah, as every mechanic says, you're only one bolt away from a 5-minute job turning into a 3-day job.
It's a common issue amongst boat projects. You think it's going to take 5 minutes. It takes a few days, which is what the case was with this one. Alright, so we have a little situation on the boat. We've been here in Boca Chica for a little while, and there's some mangrove swallows, which are super cute. But they're trying to move aboard. And so I've asked Ruri to evict them because they built a little nest, and we're bringing food to the nest. So I don't think there's babies. I haven't heard any babies, but I'm just trying to evict them. I don't want them to have a nest and then have eggs, because then I feel really bad. So Ruri's evicting them for me. They're in the sail on the other side. So that's their little nest. Oh wait, where'd it go? Oh no, there you go.
Right here on the bottom.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see it. There's a little. They brought all the sticks, but we're evicting the birds. Saying no more. Everything, all their hard work. I do feel bad. That's a lot of shit. Aw, look at it. It's so, aw. Gonna feel bad. Oh, we're tearing somebody's house apart. There's a lot of shit they brought. Oh man, it's everywhere. Oh, at least there's no eggs in it. Right? There's no eggs.
No, not yet.
It's a lot of hard work though. Alright, that's good enough. That will just, as long as there's no eggs. I gotta sweep the boat. How do you feel about evicting birds?
Not too good, but they need a place, and this ain't it.
Because once the sail goes up,
Yeah.
Well, thank you for evicting the birds for me.
Like I said, I'm surprised where they picked.
Yeah, usually they pick what, in the back of the boom, right?
Yeah, the boom is the right size for them.
Aren't they just gonna pick all this up down here? And start again? Or do you think they'll give up now?
Who knows?
Well, we'll be leaving soon, hopefully anyway, so. Alright, the birds are evicted. They were very cute, but I saw them bring worms this morning and I just don't want bugs on the boat either. So, they're evicted. Poor birdies. Alright, so another project that we have today, besides the bird's nest, is also to remove my raw water pump. I need to get it, got a replacement for it, and it's been leaking a little bit, so it's time to replace it. I think it's damaged, so I'm gonna take apart this engine and get the raw water pump replaced. So, got the raw water pump, got it in a few days ago. It's Jabsco, pretty easy to find, luckily online, so got the part ordered in here to Panama, came pretty quickly. Nice and new and shiny. So this is it. And it's going on the engine down here. So I'm gonna remove this plate here and then undo this plate as well. And alright, so the first step is to remove this plate, which I'm gonna go ahead and do now. Yes. Alright.
Yes. So.
Alright, so this is what it looks like without the plate on. We successfully got it off finally because there was kind of like a stripped bolt on the back side of it. So, got it off. And next step is to remove this, which we're going to do right now.
How is it?
It's fine. Just removing.
It's that easy, then put the other end in, so you don't have to always keep removing.
Well, no, it's not. Yeah, I tried that just a second ago. No, it wasn't. Now it's a little bit better. Let me try it in a second. Get all this removed. There you go. Mejor.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry you. I'm sorry you. Not an apology. It's just deflecting it back onto the other person.
Yeah, so what it's looking at is result.
Yeah, that's all done. You want to pull that out,
So this is anyway, so I can see, when it's about it, now we're going to leave it, so it's also zero already. So go ahead and put it more. So you can do it. So it's still sitting. Yeah, with the transit. Sorry. I don't know. Doesn't matter. things. So, yep. So we're gonna change this belt out anyway, because you can see when it was too tight of a belt, but it was the only ones available in the town we were in, and we desperately needed one. So this is also what's caused the issue with the raw water pump, I think. So anyway, just gonna go ahead and cut it. So we're not using it anymore. Ta-da! Makes it much easier to take off the belt. Alright, so you finally got this piece off. It took 4 people, I don't know how many. It took a lot of people to get this off. It was pretty wedged onto the key here, this piece. So borrowed a pulley and took 2 very strong men to get it off. But it's off. So now the next part is this. I'm just gonna take off the hose clamps. I've closed the through hole and then undo this nut right there. But not up by here.
Yeah, he was on near the surface just swimming around.
Really?
That's pretty cool. There's all kinds of fishes.
He was scouting out all the garbage.
My favorite fish, the puffer fish. They're my favorite.
Oh, it's 4 o'clock. Nice.
Come up. Let me come down there.
Alright, so just taking off the nipples off the raw water pump. And doing it this way, as Ruri said, gives me more leverage. Doing it now this way while it's still on. Yeah, I'm doing it the wrong way though. Lefty loosey. I gotta think. I always forget.
Yeah, I totally think you should go.
There we go. Alright, so here's the old one. Nice and crusty and gross and old. Here's the new one that we're going to put on. So I'm excited. Hopefully this works out. Stop leaking. So we already wrapped the nipples in some seal tape and started to thread them on. And then once it's on, you can tighten them on fully. So I'm just going to place it back into place and screw the nuts and bolts back in. Get that tape off. I do want to give it a little bit of a clean.
Yeah.
Alright, so I've just given the engine a good wipe down and clean down and spray with WD-40 since it was dripping a little bit, and just worried about kind of where it was dripping on. I was able to clean up the rust off with some of the bolts, and yeah, just laid some WD-40 on it to prevent any more corrosion. But looks a lot better now, and so I'm gonna go ahead. Next step is to put the water pump back on and put the plate on and call it a day. Alright, time to put the raw water pump back on. So Put everything back together as it was when I took it off.
Yahtzee.
Yahtzee.
Alright, so we've tightened the nipples and gotten the first hose back on, so let's go ahead and put the second hose back on now. There we go. All the way. And then go ahead and tighten the clamps. Where is my... Actually, since we're down here doing this now, we're going to actually replace these clamps because no point in keeping them on. And when we can replace them with brand new ones. Alright, new water pump is back on. Should we open up the through hull to make sure? Alright, so we already lubed up the inside, so where the key is going to slot in this little hole. And going to put this back on now too. Okay, that's where it was before. Alright, so that's on. So the last things are...
Screws.
Yep. Lube these all up again. Alright, so we got everything back on. The only thing we haven't got back on is the belt. We just have the wrong size belt, so we have to go and get some new belts for the engine, and then everything will be back together and we can give it a test run. But looking good, all back together. Nice to have a new raw water pump on the engine as well. So anyway, it's been on now and it's been working great. There is no more leaks. I did send a message to Jabsco because the new raw water pump had the same holes and it is leaking out of the same place, but we just can't figure out why. So we actually just plugged the holes, and it's been fine. Water is still coming out of the engine, of the exhaust. The engine hasn't been overheating. Everything seems good. Jabsco couldn't figure out what I was talking about, so who knows. If you guys know of anything why we shouldn't have plugged these holes, comment below. But anyway, it's all fixed, been running great. Got the new belt on, been motoring, and it's purring like a kitten again. So basically, in the end, the one way we like to try and extend this cruising life is to learn how to do everything on your own and not hire anybody, because mechanics are expensive, and if you could do it on yourself, you're saving a few $100. I mean, this part alone was only $350, but if I try to get it through a mechanic and have the mechanic replace it and everything, probably would have been $1,500 or who knows. But that's one of the ways to save money while cruising. And thankfully I have somebody on board now who can help me and show me how to do it as well. But just figure it out and learn how to do it, and you save so much money. And this cruising life doesn't have to be expensive, and this is just one way of keeping it inexpensive. So until next time, cheers.